So what system do you currently trade with?
So I mean, Anne's the one that brought me in. I've been with the ninjas for 4 years. I had the shiny object syndrome. Like I was like DeLorean. I was Kathy Kirkland. I was like, all over. I like Paul's ninja trading system. And then I've been following Crossfire as well. I know the David Karn has really jumped on with the I can't think right now. What are you using?
So can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so you're doing a little bit of everything. That's what I'm gathering.
Well, that's my problem. I need to find, and I know you got to find one, stick with it, get good at that
Right.
before you. Yeah, I mean, I get that, but it's yeah.
So what I do here is I find key levels of support and resistance to me, and that are relevant in my area. So I mean, there could be resistance and support up here, but I'm not real worried about that. I just kind of come right in here where the market's at, find a little support and resistance. I've only got one pop on that one here, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'll come down a little bit. So we've got resistance here, here, and some over here. And I just kind of box in the market just a smidge to see what it's bouncing off of currently heavily, So I try to find the trend lines, find out exactly how the market is moving. When I see it moving up a trend line like this, I trade on the 5-minute time frame. I come in and I look for these key little movements. If movements look like this, we'll go so this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this movement right here. We go up, down, and back up like this. This is my key movement right here. So I'm just kind of scanning the market for that type of movement. Now I see that movement here just upside down. We were here, went up and back down, and this high is a little lower than this high. I'm just spotting higher highs and lower lows. You know what I mean?
Right.
When I find, so we're moving up here is the exact opposite of what I showed you before. So when I have an area of support that is being tested and is being respected, right? I grab the Fibonacci tool. I stretch it out here. I go from my low to my high. Okay. I look for it to come back into a key zone, which is between 50 and 100. 71 and 78 are my really key zones. This one here hit the 78, which is a confirmation to me. So I enter the trade at 78 and I set my take profit at negative 27.
Okay.
That's it. And I just go through and practice this over and over and over. Here, we had a smaller trend line right here. This is the major trend, of course, but in here, we've got a smaller trend line that was being respected. I just come here where it touched my line. I go here to here. It hit the 78. Let me zoom in. Here, it hit the 78 and it goes up. I would have set my take profit at the negative 27. This one went to the negative 61. You would have to set your Fibonacci up the way my Fibonacci is set up, which I'm happy to share that with you. But I just look for these little confirmations. As soon as it hit this one, I just move down the line to the next one. It hit. It hit the line here. I just move down. Go from my high to my low. It hit the 78 again, and this one came down to the, well, that's the same movement to the negative 27. Let's do another one over here. Let's see if I can find you some more trends where this works. Right here, even in the sideways movement, we've got a high, a low, and a high. You just grab your Fibonacci. You look for these little movements. This one went to the 88, it came down to the negative 161. I've just trained my eye for this little high, low, high, high, low, high. It just does it over and over.
Okay.
It's interesting because it's like, even though it's so hard to trade, the market is guaranteed to always do the same thing, which is do these
Yeah.
high low highs.
Yeah, it does. It just does it over and over and over. But it gets really predictable. I will trade in the Wyckoff movement. It's kind of crazy to do. I don't suggest it at all. Wait till it starts trending like this, and every time it touches the trend line, just pull the Fibonacci and take the trade. Let's look at some more examples here, so we know it's not isolated. Okay, here we've got high, low, high. We just pull our Fibonacci here. Let's zoom in. We had the 100% low, went up to the 78, dropped down to the 161. I set my take profit at the negative 27. If I'm watching the trade, if I'm actively sitting in my computer, I'll follow it all the way down.
Right.
But again, that's the movement that I've trained my eye for here. Here's a good trending movement right here.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I would like for you to find. Train your eye to the trends, and then we just come in here. We pull our. We'll just take this one. That's our third confirmation. This one hit. This one went to the 50. To be real honest, I don't take trades at the 50. I wait for it to come back to the 78. Yeah, this one's a little bit all over the place. Let's move this up just a hair. Yeah, so I just trade trend lines. Once I find a good trend line, there we go. That one confirmed here. I just want it to look perfect to you when I'm showing it to you. Here we took our low, we went to our high, it came back to the 78, and it traded to the negative 61.
Now you're always doing this on the 5 minute?
Yes, 5 minute time frame. Brian Knight teaches, man, he teaches something pretty similar to this. He does it on the 1 hour time frame and the 4 hour time frame. But I'm too impatient for that. So yeah, I do it on the smaller time frame. But it works on any time frame.
And are you going for 10 pips or what's your, or well, I guess you're just, no, you're going to that negative 27, right? So
the negative 27, yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing I like about this, you were talking about drawdown earlier. So the cool thing about the strategy, let me pull the one we just did here.
I mean, I could see that, like if it's respecting that trend line, your drawdown is going to be minimal.
Right. That's the cool thing about this. The draw line is very small. So we're waiting for it to come up and confirm. If it goes past the 100, the trade is over. It doesn't work anymore. Okay. But it's like a rubber band. The closer it gets to the 100, usually the more powerful the movement is going to be.
Right. It's like the Bollinger Bands almost.
Right. Right. So we just watch it come down. If it bounces off the 78.6, I'm just going to set my stop loss. You could go up past the 100 because that would negate the whole movement, but just go to the next line, like the 88. You know, these are really, let's see what that would be here. Well, if you went past 100, it'd be 8.6 pips. So really tight stop losses here. And if you took the trade at the 78.6, that would be 36 pips moved on the way down.
Yeah.
I do want to tell you, this isn't my only, this is how I find trades. It's not how I manage trades once I'm in them. This is just how I find potential setups. once I'm in agreement with this, let's take this over. Like the market was like this and I was watching it move. Once it got up to the, well, let's see, when it's moving its way up and like, we think it's going to reverse. I have an indicator here called colors. And I set colors to 5. I'm on the 5-minute chart. I set colors to 45 minutes on the 5-minute chart. And I go back and forth between 5 minutes and 4 hours on colors. Those are the 2 best settings on the 5-minute chart. You can see it changes just a smidge, but just for the sake of what we're doing right now, we'll keep it on 45 minutes. You see here, it bounced off of the 68, but color says that we're still in a sell. Red is sell, green is buy. So I'm not going to take this trade yet because colors is telling me we're not in a buy yet. So I would continue to wait till colors turned green. I don't trade against.
Now is that an open source one, the colors?
Yes.
It is, eh? Because that looks like Kevin's the Ninja Matrix, right?
Yes, it is the matrix. So I used the Ninja Matrix. It was my key. Colors is one of my key things.
Okay.
You can't just trade colors. You'll lose trades like that, or I did, but it's a good confirmation.
Right. Yeah, it's just another tool.
Yeah, so it worked great with the matrix, and then PineScript changed their coding source, and then the matrix didn't work anymore. So when the Ninjacator relaunched, I tried to use it and it didn't work. And so the leaders in the ninjas told me just drop back to colors till we get it fixed.
Okay.
So hopefully they will get it fixed soon. But as of right now, this is what I'm using. So I would have waited till this turned green. I wait for colors to confirm for me. So I would have entered this trade over here and I would have taken it to the -27. So for me, personally, if I wasn't sitting in front of my computer, this trade would have been 36 pips for me. If I was sitting in front of my computer, I would have taken it down to the -61.
Right.
So question about 2 questions here. One is you drew another trend line, I think, and I wanted to ask you about how you would have, just with the Fibonacci and the trend line alone, about how you would have entered it. Maybe, is this the second one you drew right here?
This is the second trend line. We were over here at the beginning.
Okay, yes. So for the second trend line, I was looking at it. So
this one or this one over here?
The other one, the other one back over there that doesn't have support and resistance. So like this second, I guess this one could work too, but you have the second time it hits isn't until way over here. So all that time initially, you wouldn't have even known this was a trend line yet. So it's not until this minute where the mouse is that you now know it's a trend line.
Right.
Because before then it would have been a more vertical trend line. But at this point, okay, now you know. And you wouldn't have known where to draw the Fibonacci based on that point until it bounced off of the resistance up there. And once it went down maybe like an inch or something, and then you say, oh, okay, now I can draw the Fibonacci to there. And then it comes back down to the 671 or something. And then you could have, if you were not looking at other factors, you could have gotten in that trade and it would have been a profitable trade if you got out at the resistance. But at the other example before, it didn't give that type of clarity. Like the example further to the left, because in real time, I was noticing that wouldn't have given you an indication. Yeah, I think this one. So you have.
It was this one. It was this one right here, right?
Yeah, this one right here. Because there's not one further to the left, is there?
No.
No, okay, yeah, it's this one. It doesn't give that kind of clarity, does it? Because it hits
No.
the trend line twice, and
This
then
this is not a good Fibonacci sequence in my opinion, and I wouldn't take it. I take
oh,
really obvious movements of the Fibonacci. So if I'm trying really hard to connect the dots, it's incorrect.
okay,
Something has been drawn wrong, because the deal with the Fibonacci is it's kind of interpretive. There's highs and lows everywhere, and there's different time frames. And so what the Fibonacci lets you do is when it lines up, it tells you, hey, I'm on the same time frame as the people that are creating this movement. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
you're right. This doesn't line up. This didn't hit off the 78. It didn't even really hit off the 50 here. It hit off the 50 over here, but it's just not a really crystal clear good movement. And I just wouldn't
Right.
take it.
And it didn't even give you a third touch on the trend line until way over to the right. Like the third touch on the trend line doesn't happen until almost like a third of the way to the end of the trend line before it crashes right there. So then if you were to draw your Fibonacci there, you'd have to just be really on time, because you only had that little window to draw your Fibonacci from that point to get into that little trade that's there.
Yeah, so the way this is done, let's go to real time here. Let's go look at what's actually happening right now.
Mhm.
And let's take a peek. I don't want this. Let's take a peek at what's going on here. Here we go. So again, we're taking support and resistance, and we're trying to get an idea of what's going on in the market. This is, if you look at this is obviously a downtrend, right? So I'm looking for continuations of this downtrend. This is on the 1 hour time frame, right? So this is a pretty good trend right here. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, let me just get rid of all this stuff. So on the 1 hour time frame, this is a pretty good. This is what we were doing last night, Hassan. So we see we've got one touch here, two touches here on this downtrend. So now I key my brain in. So I'm not taking uptrends. I'm not trading anything here. And I'm not trading anything here. Yesterday, I didn't take, well, I took actually 2 trades yesterday, but not off of this because I don't trade against the trend. So I'm waiting for this to reverse for me. So I come into the 15-minute time frame, and this is the, excuse me, this retracement right here. This retracement right here and this retracement right here, we're not going to trade. Oof, God, how sloppy is that? We're not trading any of these up movements, okay? And this is a sideways movement. We're not trading that either. We're looking for the market to start heading down again. We want these legs. So now we're waiting. We've hit our resistance up here. So we bounced. We're waiting to bounce through this support right here. When we bounce, so we're probably going to come back up here, bounce again. And when we do, that's going to give us most likely give us our Fibonacci confirmation. So right here, we're going to look for this to bounce up to about the 71 or 78 on this trend line here. And then we're going to look for it to come down to the 27. Okay. That's how we do it in real time. Okay.
Got it.
So I'm looking for this trend line to get broken and move down this direction. This will be the trade I'm watching for today.
Oh, wow. So that's like an upside down. That's on the 15. That's like an upside down bouncing off of that 1 hour trend line. So it's like that looks like it takes a really good eye, because I would not have seen that as a downtrend opportunity for the Fibonacci. Because if you look at it in the short vision, because you looked at it at the bigger screen, it looks like an uptrend with 4 touches on the little
Yes.
trend line. But really, you're looking at the bigger picture, and you're seeing this is and it like a bounce off of the downtrend line on the hour. But you're just
Right.
looking at on the 15-minute, and so you would draw your Fibonacci from the top of
Okay.
that trend.
Well, let's do this. Let's zoom in further. So I want you to know you just have to pick your trend. Okay. So my trend that I'm following is this 1 hour trend that's coming down. And then I'm going to take the sells off of that because that's going to give me the movements that I want.
Yeah.
You know, 30 pips, 40 pips or something like that. You know what I mean? If you're going for smaller, if you're going for smaller movements than that, I want to tell you, if you come here, I don't want to over confuse this, but here is a downtrend right here. Okay. So it's going to bounce here and go back up. So if we took our Fibonacci and we went from here to here, we would look for this to reverse to the 78 and we would take this to the 27. Does that make sense? I mean, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I like this. I like the bigger picture way you're doing it, because I knew a guy shortly, and I think he was in New Mexico or something, and I can't remember, but he was doing something like this, and I never knew how he was doing it, but he was making a fortune looking at the bigger picture like this, and he would try to, when it would bounce off of this bigger trend line, he would use Fibonacci and other things, I just never knew how, and ride it pretty far down actually. So, and he was making some serious, and he'd look at like longer time frames too, but so I really like, it's nice to see this this style of trading here, learn about it.
Yeah, it is quite interesting because it's everywhere. And you pick your trend, and what the Fibonacci does is it just confirms that you're watching the right trend. The market moves to the Fibonacci sequence. That just is what it is. If you want to know if you're watching the right movement, let it confirm off the Fibonacci sequence. Again, this is a little trend right here. This is the one we were looking at earlier. If your eye spotted this little trend right here, we would just pull the Fibonacci on this little trend right here, wait for it to confirm for us. This one again came down and hit the 78, and as long as it doesn't pop this trend line, we can continue to take trades along that trend line. There is no wrong trend line as long as you can find it. You know what I mean? But it's best to find. So the bigger time frames, their trend lines are respected first. So the 1 hour trend line is going to be very hard for a 15-minute or a 5-minute trend line or movement to break. So if you find a movement on the 1 hour, you can really count on that on the 5-minute time frame to be respected. So it's a good just, you know, roadblock for the market to hit, and then kind of build your trades off of that. Since this recently hit here, I know that I'm most likely going to be able to take trades for the day down this direction once this is broken. So if I'm just a little bit patient, I should be able to pick up a trend line here pretty quickly and just follow this movement down for the day.
Nice.
Yeah, which would be nice, because yesterday was waiting. Yesterday was this all stinking day long. And then hopefully today I'll get to do some trading and see how it goes.
So just a quick question. So yesterday you saw those 3 major touches on that trend line and you said, this is really something I can't get in until it breaks this trend line.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't want to take buys in a sell market. And of course, and again, that's just the trend line that I'm following. If I was to focus on the smaller trend line, then I could take those trades, and I guess really I should have taken those trades. But to me, the market is just a whole lot less stable when you trade counter trend. Excuse me. So I try to just, you know, trade with the 1 hour time frame. Let's take another peek. Let's just go to a market I haven't seen yet, and let's turn this off. So we'll hop out to the 1 hour time frame. Well, does anybody have a chart that they love? We can just look at the charts you guys like. Anybody want to throw out a chart here? Because I'm just doing the charts that I know. No opinions, no worries. All right. So if we come here on the 1 hour time frame, hey, Mr. Goodwin, what's going on?
Hello, mate. Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
The wizard has arrived, huh? Okay, so this is a downtrend from here to here. Agreed?
Yep.
And I see a little downtrend here. And I see an uptrend here. And I see a downtrend here. And I see an uptrend. Would you stop it, please? I see an uptrend. Oof, that's not it. It's here. This is tricky here. This is not a great movement right here, but we'll look at it anyways just to see how it does. But you see these little trends in here, and these are the trends I want you to watch and take movements off of. This is the 1 hour time frame, so we can kind of get an idea how the market is moving back and forth. We're tracking higher highs and lower lows. This is an upward movement. I don't trade choppy trend lines. I look for, I can't tell you enough. Hassan was with me yesterday. I looked at charts all day long and took like 1 or 2 trades because the trend lines just weren't right for me. So we're going to try to pick up some good trades here. But again, I wait for really, really powerful confirmations from a couple different indicators. But let's just take a peek at what's going on here. On the 15-minute time frame, we see this little up movement here. So I would take my Fibonacci. It respected this line once, twice. It didn't respect it here, and it didn't respect it here. So I would be very, very leery of this. But let's pull our Fibonacci and see what's going on. And this is actually a good place to test a rule. Let's pull the Fibonacci right here first on our first one and see if this is just being respectful of the Fibonacci sequence. And it's not really. If you got to force it, it's really just not doing great with it. And it's not. You can see it's missing the zones here. So this is sloppy. I wouldn't mess with this. And don't force it, guys. Don't look for something that's not there. I do want to show you here though. If you were pulling the Fibonacci here from your low to your high, and you see how the market came down and blew. Well, no, it didn't. It went absolutely even. No, it didn't. See here how it blew that 100 line? Can y'all see that? See how it blew through the 100 right there? That invalidates this as a low, and you really got to watch that because they'll sneak that 1 pip movement in on you. So that says that this low is no longer valid, and you've got to move to the next lowest low here. Now this does look pretty good here. Now look how everything kind of started to line up. We got 78 here, 78 here. Again, this isn't really respecting the trend line, but if I did take this trade, I would watch for colors to confirm a buy, and then I would take it to the negative 27. Let's look and see if we can find us a really good Fibonacci movement here. I want to give y'all good examples so that you can spot them and trade them on your own. This is the kind of stuff I'm looking for. I'm looking for it to get up close to my trend line. And then I take my low and I look for it to go back up to my zone and go down to the negative 27. Of course, I can find these all the time if you guys are in here with me, and then it kind of starts to get choppy. Let's move to another market. Let's just go shopping here and see what we find. And I trade off the 5 minute here. Does anybody else, how many people are in here? 1, 2, 5. Does anybody else trade off the Fibonacci sequences, off the Fibonacci movements?
No, but I think I'm going to start. I like this a lot, and you're recording this, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think I'm going to rewatch this over and over. I really, yeah, and that's the thing. This really speaks to me, and you got to find something that really speaks to you, I think, and I think you hit that with me on this one.
There's a trend line. I'm glad to hear that. I always end up coming back to the Fibonacci. Here we go. So this hit the 78 and it hit the 38.2. This would definitely be something worth watching here. It did pop the trend line just a smidge, but maybe that's because this is going to come down a little lower. Maybe this is going to continue down to like the 50 or the 61 even, and then go back up. We would just look for it to confirm. The color says that we're still in a sell. I always check colors on the 45 and on the 4 hour, on the 5 minute. Ooh, I'm on the wrong chart, on the 5 minute chart. Here we go. There we go. That's how I trade right there. So color says we're still in a sell. Red is sell, so we're not going to buy here in the first place. Yeah, we're still in a sell. Okay, so we're just going to let this continue down. All I do here is just set an alert for colors to go long. Yeah, and then it'll tell me when it changes to green to a buy, and I just look to see if it's down here. Hopefully when it goes to green, we'll have bounced off my trend line and we can take this up to the negative 27.
Wouldn't that be a late entry? That would be a late entry, right?
If we come down here?
Yeah.
No, we're looking for, we would like to see this. For this to be correct, for it to be really powerful, it needs to bounce off this trend line right here. Now the trend line, as a trend goes, a trend tends to get steeper. So it's not a big deal for the trend to get steeper if that's what it wants to do. But it's not good if the trend is broken. So we don't want it to come down into this area, but anywhere in here, I'll take the bounce. I would prefer that it bounce directly off the 50. If it bounces in the middle here, I'm not going to be real crazy about that. In fact, I won't trade it. But if it bounces off the 50 or the 61, I will take the trade. Let's just look here for Fibonacci sequences that are everywhere. This one here at the 100, the 0, it came up to the 71. I would have set my take profit at the negative 27, but this one went down to the negative 161. Again, we're looking for high, low, high, and then we take the movement down. This is the Fibonacci sequence we're always looking for: high, low, high, and then it moves. This is a good one right here. Let's see if we can spot any other ones. And this is how I back test. I just go through and I train my eye to Fibonacci movements: high, low, 71, down to the negative 27. I hope that makes sense, guys. When I explain it, it sounds just like ridiculous, but I hit these all the time. You just gotta keep your eyes open for them. just look for these little movements. Here's a smaller
Hi,
trend.
Dalton.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I missed the beginning of this because I miscalculated the time zone changes.
Sure.
But I love Fibonacci. So can I just clarify, are you always looking for it to come down to the 71, 78?
That seems to be the really powerful zone. Like that's the best confirmation, but it doesn't have to. So let me tell you this. Let's go back to auto. I want to say, watch these little trend lines too. This, like this right here, is a nice little Fibonacci movement right here. So the initial movement, like this is a reversal. If I'm looking, let me get rid of this. If I'm looking at a Fibonacci reversal, like this one right here, I really want it to be either a double top where it hits the 100, or I want it at the 71 and 78. That seems to be the really powerful reversal Fibonacci zone. If it's moving up the trend line, it tends to hit on the 38 and the 50 because it is a continuation of the trend line. So if we're doing this guy here, you see this one is going to come down to the 61. It's not going to hit the 78 again. It's going to come somewhere in the 50. You see it's respecting the 38 here. Perhaps it'll bounce off the 38. I know an educator that uses the Fibonacci, and he swears by the 38. That's where he takes his zone on a trend because the trends tend to get steeper. You just kind of get a feel for it. I back test this all the time, training my eye to Fibonacci movements. And as long as you set it on highs and lows, that's really the only rule. And then you just look for, where is it hitting your zones? Like this isn't hitting any zones, so this is not the correct movement. And so you just back it up and you kind of search around for where things are being hit, testing highs and lows. And this one looks like it's getting pretty respectful here. So to me, this is the movement that these people are using on this trend. They're using this high and they're using this low to move to the -27, in my opinion. I like this in here, this little bitty trend line in here. If we go into this trend line, this was pretty good. This little bitty movement right here. That hit the 88, that hit the 78. That's not a bad little movement right there. And those are scalping movements, which I do take quite a bit, is the Fibonacci hits all the time. I look like an old person this close to my screen. That's a good one right there. 100% came to the 78, went to the -161. You see how that's not forced. That just lines up. And when it lines up that way, it gives me a lot of confidence. It gives me a lot of confidence that this is a good movement.
And you take the trade when it bounces. You take the trade when it bounces off the 78?
I look at the trade when it bounces off the 78. When it bounces off the 78, I turn on colors and I don't trade against colors. Usually on the 45-minute time frame. For some reason, on some charts, the 45-minute doesn't line up, and I just move it to the 4 hours. That only works on the 5-minute time frame. I'm sure it's accurate on other time frames. I'm just saying on this time frame. You see right there on 4 hours, it doesn't line up right. So I'm always going back and forth. Let's go back to the 45-minute time frame. There you go. It lines up perfectly with the 78. So if I pull this Fibonacci pattern and it hits the 78 and it changes to green, I feel pretty confident about that. That's a good trade to move. If I'm walking away from my computer, I set my profit. I take profit at the -27, which it did very well, and it went to the -161. I'm happy to let you guys take these Fibonacci colors and percentages from me. if you want them. So as we move down, so we hit the 161, I would leave my high here because I know that the market likes this high. I mean, this low, it's respecting this low. And I would just move my Fibonacci to where it bounced. It bounced off the 161. I'm just going to move it to the 161 like that. I'm going to see if everything is still being respectful. Seems to be moving okay. And this one moved to the negative 161 exactly. So that's good. That worked out really well.
So the reason you move it is so that if it comes back down to the 71, you would enter again?
No, it's gonna continue on. So here it hit the 78 and it moved to the 161. I just moved my Fibonacci to where it hit a key level, which the key level is the 161. I just move it to the 161. I see if everything is still confirmed, everything still looks good, and I would watch this to continue out, which it did to the 161 before it reversed. As long as it's doing higher highs and higher lows, then you just keep moving your Fibonacci with it. Perhaps I hadn't said that yet.
The purpose of doing that is you're deciding how long you're going to stay in the trade.
Yeah, until the trend is broken, the trend continues, and the Fibonacci pattern continues. And then at some point, like right here, it gets broken, obviously, and the trade is over. So you're always pulling the trend line. To be honest, to be fair, this trend would have been broken for me somewhere in this area right here. I wouldn't continue out like this, most likely. Let's look here. I know I'm going counter trend here, which I told y'all I don't do. I'm just trying to show you where to pick up these Fibonacci patterns. This is an uptrend here. So we're just going to come in here and we're going to look for Fibonacci movements here. 100, 0, 78, and it moves up to the negative 161. I just want y'all to know there's not really a right or wrong place to put this. It's just, does it confirm 100, 0, 88, negative 27. This is the movement right here.
The Fibonacci, there's lots of educators that use the Fibonacci. It's James Leone who does the dynamic edge, and he loves Fibonacci too. He in his dynamic edge, he's got his indicator there, but I mean he doesn't complicate, he doesn't explain it that much, but he loves Fibonacci levels too.
It just works, man.
They're powerful. Well, Fibonacci works in it's powerful in life. I don't think people realize the Fibonacci sequence is everywhere.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes, it is.
I mean, I saw a thing with Donald Trump's hair that they did the Fibonacci sequence on.
Really? That's
funny. Oh
yeah. Yeah, shells grow to the Fibonacci, trees grow to the Fibonacci. Yeah. What, like sunflower seeds grow to the Fibonacci? It's everywhere. This little downtrend here, if I was trading live, like when we get off of this phone call, this is a downtrend, high, low. It went up to the 78. It hit the negative 27. Just move my Fibonacci down a little bit and look for it to continue on down. The colors is in a sell, so this is a good little movement. I would look for this to continue down till it hit this trend line right here, and then I would look for the reversal. Yeah, I wish I could make it more complicated than that for you, but it's not. Managing the trade is a little more complicated, but finding a potential trade to enter is not So it's not that bad. It seems to be everywhere. If you yep, there you go, to the negative 161. The reversals are the best place to do it. That Brian Knight looks for reversals almost exclusively. If you get a reversal right, it's amazing, but if you get it wrong, you miss a lot of trades. So I learned to trade the Fibonacci on continuations, so then you can take a lot more trades. But this reversal is perfect. This is textbook. On the reversal, you know, you're doing higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. And the first time you get a lower high, you're looking for the Fibonacci to hit the lower high at a key level, and then you follow it down, that's exactly what this did. Higher high, higher low, lower high, exactly at the 71.8. It does bounce off the zero line a lot. You got to watch the zero line, but that's key resistance, key support. 1, 2, 3 hits on key support, and then it finally went through. It will bounce around off the zero line and hit these key levels. Kind of starts to look like a Wyckoff movement, or it is a Wyckoff movement, I guess. And then it'll blow through. And the Fibonacci is valid unless we break our higher high. We break this 100% line. If the 100% line gets broken by even 1 pip, the whole movement is over. You've got to move to a higher. You've got to move this to a higher high, which in this case would be if this got broken for some reason. Holy crap! We'd have to go back a long ways to hit our higher high. So we just wouldn't do it. We would just call it over. Let me show you.
Honestly, this is the best. I would say this is the best session or explanation I've personally had for Fibonacci. So I want to thank you for that.
Oh, good. Good.
Honestly, and I know a lot of people use it, and there's a lot of good. I like the way you presented it, and just the way you're. Like you said, you wish you could I'm glad you didn't complicate it. Like you've really, I don't know, it stuck with me. You've explained Fibonacci to me the best that anybody has. So I thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. You hope that you're not just going crazy in your room, you know.
I like the fact that you can use it on the lower time frames and just take small little trade. Well, they're not that small, but just, you know, you can find something all the time rather than waiting for great big moves.
You can, and you know, I think my problem is that I wait for too big of a movement because I'm a scalper. So I like these big movements because they're so obvious to the eye, and I tend to miss these little bitty movements. But these little bitty movements are the little tiny money makers, because if you're on a funded account, you don't need big movements. Or even if you're on your account, you don't need huge movements. You know, Paul says 10 pips a day. Man, you're going to pull 10 pips a day out of this constantly. The reason that I really got attracted to this, well, there were a lot of reasons, but one of them was stop losses, because you know exactly what your risk is. So if you're risking 1%, so let's just do this. I want to give you guys an example. Let's pretend that I came in here and I did my Fibonacci like this, okay? And everything's looking good. You know, I think, oh, it's on a trend line, everything. You know what? Let's just do this. Let me show you this real quick, because I have to do this constantly. Watch this. So let's come in here and let's draw a trend line like this, okay? I got my trend line, right? And I pulled my Fibonacci from here to here, okay? Now we can't see anything past the trend line, okay? Let's do this. Like that, okay? So everything's looking.
Which trend line were you talking about? Sorry,
this trend line right here, okay?
Oh, okay.
See this small trend right here?
Yeah.
So everything looks great. Everything looks fine, even if it was like this. Actually, that looks pretty good. Everything looks good, and we're going to look for it to continue up this trend line, but it pops the trend line. Damn, I didn't want to put that there. I wanted to put that. I'm sorry, guys. Give me just a second. I just want to show you that you don't have to freak out about this. Okay, so we're looking for it to just come back to the 78 or to the trend line and keep moving. And see how it right here, it busted my 100% line right here. All you do is take the Fibonacci and you go back one low. That's all you do. You just, if your low gets busted or your 100% line gets busted, you just take it, and you just move it up one. That's as complicated as it gets. Okay, so you're not always going to hit the Fibonacci perfect. And what I can't tell you how many Fibonacci's I pull, and then I have to move until I get my confirmation that, hey, you're on the right track here. Let's do this. I'm just going to pull a wrong Fibonacci here. So if we were to pull a Fibonacci like this, okay, if I was to pull this Fibonacci, and this is my 100% line, I would set my stop loss just right above this 100% line. So it comes down and then it busts my 100% line. All I do is grab my Fibonacci, I go to the next high, and then it confirmed here at the 100%, and then we continue our movement down. If this 100% was to get busted, I would just take this and move this up to the next level, and then I would just wait for it to come up, hit the key level, and move down. Does that make sense? So I'm always moving my Fibonacci back up the line until it's correct, and then once it's correct, then I follow it back down. So it's not like I just come in here and draw Fibonacci's perfect every time. And I don't want you to get frustrated pulling Fibonacci's and then your Fibonacci gets busted. So look, so like right here, like when we get off the phone, I'm gonna pull this Fibonacci here, and I'm gonna look for this to hit the 27, right? And then come back up and then go back down again. If for some reason this 100% line gets busted, I'm just gonna take this, I'm gonna move it up to here, and then I'm gonna look for this to reverse all the way up to the 78 and then continue down. So it's okay to move the Fibonacci till you find what is correct, because at some point everything is just going to line up, and then you follow that trend. There it is. That's the trend it followed. It followed this high, this low. See how everything lined up right there to the 161? That was the correct Fibonacci movement. That was the correct placement for that trend. So really the best thing to do would be to just move this like this, look for this to come down and hit the -27, and then we're going to start back up again. So it's going to hit the -27 on this trend line right here and then move up. That's the usage for this.
So you want it to bounce off the -27?
The -27 is my take profit one. Yes.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
So here you see it bounced, it hit the 0, it bounced off the 71, and then it hit the 0, it bounced off the 50, and then it went down to the -161, bounced off the -61, -161 again. So this is like Fibonacci, it's bouncing all like perfect Fibonacci. I take this and move it down to the -161 because that's what my bounce was. But look, it's still being respectful. Now, instead of it being the 71, it's just the 88. It's still confirmed, right? Now, instead of it being the 0 line, it's the 61. Everything is still confirmed. Instead of this being the -27, it's the 38. Everything is still okay, right? And everything didn't get all jumbled. So now I can feel confident that it's going to continue to be respectful, continue down to the -27. It may bounce a little bit. It could even retrace back up to the 71. As long as it doesn't break the 100, it's a good movement. But it'll continue down to the -27. So I just turn on colors. Right here is a key level. Right here, it's either going to break the 0 line or it's going to bounce. So I would not take this trade till it broke the 0 line, which is our support right here. If it broke the 0 line and color said it was still a sell, then I would trade it down to the -27.
So you would actually, in this
23
case, because it seems like you're describing in this situation how to enter a late trade where you didn't enter when it was up at the 71 or 78, but instead, oh, you missed it. But okay, let me see if it breaks the 100. If it does, then I'm just going to get in and ride it down to the 27.
If there's enough pips with this, which this is 23 pips, that's a fair amount for me to ride. And the 27 is right here at this support line. Yeah, I think that would be a wonderful trade. Hey, let me show you something else fun. Y'all want to do something fun here? Watch this. So we can come in here and just pull another look at this. We got a high, low, high here. So we'll just check the Fibonacci confirmation here. And it did. It went high, low, up to the 78. That's another confirmation. So we could ride this down to the 160. I mean the 61 or the negative 161 here. So this is a Fibonacci inside the Fibonacci, which is a good confirmation. Everything is still on track. Everything is still moving correctly. We're going to continue with the trade. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. I hope so. Yeah, so pull a smaller Fibonacci inside the bigger Fibonacci to make sure everything is still moving correctly, which it is still moving correctly. This little movement here is a correct movement. Yeah, so we'll just wait for it to bust the 0 line. It's good. I mean, it's an active trade. Let's just see what it does. I almost feel like I should enter. Let's see if it bounces off the 0 line here. Nope, it broke support. Let's see what it does. See what color says. Again, just going back and forth on colors here to see what's most accurate. It likes to bounce off the 0 line a lot, so we'll have to see what it does. I won't make you guys sit here and watch this, or watch it on your screen, see what it does. It's pretty interesting stuff. But it does it over and over and over.
So that's 2 touches now. Like back there, so it might do 3, right? Like, so there's 1. This is the second one, I guess. Yeah.
Yes. So it's the first touch off of this Fibonacci movement. It's our original support. Yeah, and now it's hitting it again. It looks like it hit it over here too.
Okay.
So it's a good support level. It's a powerful support level. Let's see. It's a good bounce area. Yeah, here was resistance there. Yeah, so let's see what it does. It's definitely trying to break through. It's a good trade to watch. Watch it to come down to the negative 161 because that's where the trend line's at. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about the Fibonacci movement? Finding a trade with the Fibonacci movement.
This is just a really short question. It just seems like you don't really respect these fractal Fibonacci's within the 5-minute from that bigger movement that you're watching. Because I noticed you used it only as a confirmation, but not for like a serious trade entry.
Well, the deal is that it's over, in my opinion. So if I would have caught this right here at the negative 78, like, see, this is a retracement, right? A retracement, and then we caught the reversal. Just like we caught the reversal up here, we're catching a reversal here. So if I would have caught this at the negative 78, I would have been more than happy to ride this down to the negative 27. But it's already, that would have been 21 pips. So it's already at the negative 27. I don't really like, once it hits the 27, I kind of feel like I'm chasing once I go. If I chase it from the negative 27 to the negative 61 or the negative 161, I feel like I'm chasing the market at that point, and I lose trades when I chase. So if I close the trade at the negative 27, I tend to just be done at that point. But this is not to the negative 27 yet, so I will continue on here to see what happens. The good thing about the Fibonacci is that the market is coming to you. I'm setting the parameters for the trade. I'm saying this is the high, this is the low. You come to the 78 and confirm for me what's going on. I feel like with a lot of other trading styles, I'm chasing the market. Like, I'm reacting to what the market is doing. With the Fibonacci, I'm getting in front of the market and making it making it confirm what I think it's doing. And then once I get the confirmation, I take the trade, which is the negative 78, most, or 71. Anytime I start entering down in this area here, I feel like I'm getting very like reactive, and I don't like being reactive. That's how I lose trades. So I just get patient. Let's take a peek. So that's a good one. We'll leave that one up. I trade the AUD JPY a lot at night. Oh, look, we set this one last night and it hit today. So look, now you guys can at least know I'm not making this up. So here's what my Fibonacci's looked like last night. You can see I was pulling Fibonacci's all through, all the way down. That's horrible. So this was my big Fibonacci movement here, and then I was doing confirmations of it on the way down. Does that make sense? That looks like a jumbled mess. So my big Fibonacci movement was high, low, high, and then I was going to follow it down to the negative 27. But then I guess I got I saw a little Fibonacci here, so I did a Fibonacci sequence here, which hit, and then it did another little Fibonacci sequence here, which hit, which ended up making the big Fibonacci complete. Let me zoom this out a little bit so you can see what's going on. There we go. Yeah, here was a little Fibonacci movement here that I took. A little Fibonacci movement. Oh, that one got busted actually. This is kind of advanced Fibonacci stuff here. I wouldn't worry about it, but it is, if you do any work with the Fibonacci, what is it, the Fibonacci extension? Is that what it's called? The Fibonacci. We've got the retracement, yeah, the fib extension. So the Fibonacci retracement is the negative 78. Fibonacci extension are these over 100% numbers here. I wouldn't mess with them until you get really comfortable with the Fibonacci. But when you're doing, like, you know, we use the scanner in the ninjas, and so the scanner picks up like the Gartley and the bat and the butterfly and things of that nature. And on those patterns, we're looking for, like, you know, 78, we're looking for the 100% and then the 78, and then like in a cipher it goes to 113, or it'll go, or like the Gartley goes like 100%, 78, 78, and then it goes to you know, 112, 113, I think is where it backs out. It might go to 161, and those are Fibonacci extensions, and they work. They work. So I went ahead and threw them on here. And it's for looking for those Gartley and cipher patterns and things of that nature. But for the most part, when it breaks the 100 for the retracement, you just forget about it. I guess we would have just moved this up to right here and continued on. But anyways, it worked out. Oh yeah, there it is. Look how it hit perfectly the 161. So I was just on the wrong high. This was the high I had it on, but the high it wanted was here, and then it moved on down to the 161.
So it can be any kind of high on the way down. It doesn't have to be sort of the latest, the highest high.
No, it just depends on which movement you're following. It just depends on which movement you're following. It's literally everywhere, and so it just depends which one you're going to follow. Oh, look at this little Gartley pattern right here. Or that's a cipher. I mean, yeah. So you can put it anywhere as long as your 100% doesn't get busted. You can put it anywhere.
Okay.
Let me delete this. There we go. Yes. So like, as long as your levels are being confirmed, Like here's a high, low, high here, which I can almost guarantee you that hit. High, low, high, down. That's gonna be, let's just look at that one. Just train your eye to the high, low, high. And I am very sell market minded. So I'm always looking for the market to be going down. This is sloppy. I wouldn't have taken this. It's got to hit the levels perfectly for me, or it doesn't work. That's better. Yeah, so just, and that's the deal. That's why I go with the trend, because if you go with the trend, you've got a really good, you've got a really high likelihood that it's going to go your way.
And do you have your favorite pairs, or do you just look for at all of them?
I do have favorite pairs. Let's take a peek. Yeah, that's not it either. So just make it work. Yeah, my favorite pair. So I'm in Texas. So I do Open, which is USD CAD, and I like the AUD USD. I'm always keeping track of Brian Knight's 5.
Right. Yeah.
And then at night I go to the AUD JPY and watch it quite a bit. So really just the USD CAD, AUD USD, and AUD JPY I try to watch. They seem to move really well. But these are my US pairs, so I do kind of just, you know, shop these throughout the day to see who's doing what. These are my New York pairs, with the USD CAD being my favorite. Seems to move the best. Like, just, it's not real wiki, I guess. You know, some of these get really wiki. I don't know which one it is. Anyways, yeah, USD CAD. I don't know if you guys are on the call or not, but when I get on, I always go right here and check what the market, see what markets are open. So I'm not watching a dead market. There's nothing worse than watching a dead market and trying to get a trade out of a dead market. Those dead markets are unpredictable. I would like to get into trade management. We don't have to do it today, but I do feel like it's important to know how to manage your trade once you're in it. This is how I find trades, but once I'm once I've seen a Fibonacci sequence, I confirm the Fibonacci sequence, and I've decided to enter the trade. I pretty much, I mean, I still respect the Fibonacci, but I pretty much put it behind me and go to indicators at that point to manage the trade. And there, I feel like there's a couple of really strong indicators to manage trades and keep yourself safe when you're in the trade. Colors being one of them. It seems to be really, I don't trade against colors, and you can see why. I mean, look how accurate this is. If I'm scalping, red is sell, green is buy. There's no need to ever go against what colors has to say. I've tried to trade just colors, and it doesn't work very well. For some reason, I just can't seem to do well with it. Uh-oh, there's one right there. High, low, 78, negative 27. That's a good trade. And that was with trend. So that's good. Okay. Any questions, guys?
That's great. Thank you, Dalton.
Welcome.
This is awesome. And just if any people like in the future want to talk about strategy development, because like just from talking with you, Dalton, this like so many things in my mind have opened up about what's possible. And some strategies that are so close to like literally making you financially independent if just one thing. And I was just thinking if a group of people maybe looked at 1 or 2 or 3 strategies together as sort of like a mastermind, they could actually like crack the code. Because I think one of the things the banks are counting on is everybody's trading like mostly selfishly or like by themselves. These retailers, it's just me, you know, but like when a group comes together, maybe it's possible to start cracking more code. So just a thought, you know.
Yeah. So Hassan, I am part of a mastermind group. Guys, Hassan came to me from my website, the omodalton.com. So Hassan, everybody else in here is part of a mastermind group called the Forex Ninjas. Is everybody else in here a ninja?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So everybody in here, we meet quite a bit for training sessions. My mentor, Jeff Goodwin, he's the one that picked me up from a nothing trader and took me under his wing, Jeff Goodwin. Yeah, we do this 5 days a week. there's something open, there's something, or 6 days a week. Actually, Brian does pre-market on Sundays. Yeah, Jeff is constantly doing trainings. I'll get you plugged in, Hassan, though. We can talk about that later. But yeah, join if you like the group, join the mastermind, man, because everybody here is definitely trying to get this figured out. We have messenger groups where everybody's saying the trades they took and
oh cool
what they're looking at, and yeah, so it's there's a little community of us here.
I would definitely like to refine a couple strategies. Like one strategy I'm experimenting with has almost doubled my account since this call started, but at the same time, it's like maybe on a different day it would completely wipe out my account, you know, and that's
Absolutely.
why that back and forth. So anyway, I'm sure other people have questions, so I'm done for the rest of the call.
Yeah. Anybody else got
what I like about this is I like the minimal drawdown, like that 100, like it breaks the 100, and that's a hard and fast rule. That's it. You're done, and it's just
Yes.
it's minimal drawdown, and you just live like you said. You move, and Hassan said it good. He said some people it just seemed like they're like Fibonacci has to be this way, but you're like no. It's like if that one didn't work, just move it.
just move
And
it, right.
and your drawdown is so minimal that okay, I'm out of that trade, I'll move it, and then okay, now let's see how this plays out. That I like that a lot. I like the minimal drawdown and the fact that you can just redo the Fibonacci and be like, okay, maybe this looks like a better one. So that's the minimal drawdown, and being able to adjust is, I think, it's fantastic.
And that's the deal.
And where did you learn all this, Dalton?
Brian Knight, I feel like, is a really good teacher. But you would not believe the amount of time I spend on YouTube. Jeff Goodwin too takes a lot of time and teaches me. So mentors and YouTube guys, I just I just YouTube the holy hell out of this. Like when we were doing okay, well done. Like we take the Fibonacci patterns off of the scanner, you know, but I wanted to know, like, why are we taking these Fibonacci patterns off the scanner? And so I just started researching these patterns, the Gartleys and the bats and the ciphers and all that, and they were all based off of Fibonacci patterns. But the scanner was taking very loose Fibonacci patterns, and I was thinking, well, damn, I can do better than that. So I just started looking for these little Fibonacci patterns that the scanner was picking up, and then it was just like, holy crap! Like there's a guy that trades, and I can't remember his name. I can give you the link, but he only looks for Gartley patterns like this. See, I didn't look for high, low, highs, but this guy would say, this is the pattern I'll look for: a W here, 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 and then I take the trade here, 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 and I take the trade. An M here, 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 I take the trade. here, 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 I take the trade. And he was like, it's literally everywhere. Here, 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 I take the trade. Here, 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 I take the trade. And I was like, holy crap, like this dude is seeing trades everywhere. Anywhere there was an M or a W, he took the trade. And it just opened my eyes to, holy crap, this Fibonacci sequence is everywhere. And I wasn't real good at spotting the W's like he was and the M's like he was, or the little cipher patterns like this, you know, the little Z that's here, because they all have to go to their own little Fibonacci movements too. But I was good at seeing high, low, high. I mean, it's just not a hard pattern to find, you know, high, low, high. You can find it. High, low, high. It's everywhere. That one's broken. Here's this one, high, low, high, high, low, high, down. And I just started back testing high, low, high, down. High, low, high, down. And it's right here, high, low, high, down, which technically is the cipher pattern. But it wasn't a hard pattern to spot. High, low, high, down. And it's the same. I'm sell minded, but you can do it the other way. Low, high, low, up. Low, high, low, up. I'm not good at that, but that is the deal. Low, high, low, up.
So your Fibonacci that you're using, you're just using the retracement one off TradingView?
Yes, so this Fibonacci pattern, Jeff, did you give me this Fibonacci retracement numbers? That's all right, Jeff, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Yes, but also there's another guy, one of the educators.
Oh,
But
Manny Quinones.
Yeah, I've refined it recently as well with making all color coordinated. I'll share that with you. So you can tell the future. You can tell the future based off the colors of the fibs.
Nice. And Jeff is a master at finding new ways to trade and adapting trading styles. If y'all got your phones, take a picture of that. This Fibonacci, Jeff turned me on to it, and he turned me on to Manny Quinones settings, and then I just started following a bunch of Fibonacci teachers on YouTube, and I've just been adjusting this Fibonacci thing here, tool here.
That's awesome. Thank you.
These three up here, these guys up here, don't worry about these. And if I was you, I wouldn't turn them on. These light blue ones, just don't worry about them. And because I don't use them very often, to be really honest. It's kind of just a test I was doing. But the reason we wanted to come up, to the 78 is like what Richard said. We want very small stop losses. So if we pull this Fibonacci pattern, if we think this is a reversal and we want to enter this trade, if we look at our risk to reward ratio, if this hit the 88, guys, our stop loss here is going to be, guys, that's four pips. Okay. Come on, that's 4 pips, and then that's 26.5 pips. That's not a bad risk to reward.
No, that's what I like. That all this whole session I've been thinking, I love the minimal drawdown, and you can take, like, if it blows your 100, okay, it's minimal, and then you just redraw it, and then you're in again. Like, it's like, yeah, you can draw it wrong, and then when you finally get it, it still pays off because your drawdown so minimal, but your reward, it makes up for it in one trade. Like,
it does
more than one. Yeah.
If you sit in on Brian Knight's sessions, he'll say, yeah, I got 100 pips with a 6 pip stop loss, you know, and it's like, how is that possible? And this is how he's doing it, because he's waiting for it to go up as high. But he won't enter down here. Brian Knight will not enter down here. And he won't trade back up. He waits till it hits his zone, and then he sets the stop loss right above the 100. He takes the trade and kills it. And that's what I started doing. So if I'm away from the computer, once I find the sequence, you know, you can do the you know, the thing where it enters the trade by itself if you're away from the computer. Stop loss above the 100, take profit at the -27. That's a take profit 1, just like what we learned in the academy. And take profit 2, take profit 3. I just set it up to take profit 1 and forget about it because it hits it a lot.
See, and Mr. Goodwin is living the life that I want to live. I love following him, and that's, yeah, I wanna get out of paramedicine, retire, move somewhere where I can enjoy life and just trade. So
Right. Trade on the beach.
Oh yeah. Mr. Goodwin is one of my heroes as well. So
yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have you done sessions with Jeff?
I haven't actually.
You should.
You
Jeff, I
did
just volunteered you. I'm sorry.
You were on some of my B70 sessions, I think.
I was, yeah. I
Yes.
was, just not, I haven't really got into, but after this session, I'm thinking, because like I said, I'm shiny object. I've everybody, like I went from DeLorean to Kathy Kirkland to, and I mean, they're all great, but I need to focus on one. I know I need to focus on one, and yeah.
Yeah, because the deal is that none of them are wrong.
Oh no, absolutely not. I just need to stop jumping from one to the other to the other. It's like I need to, like.
I think that's important. Just, I don't know if you have a trading plan, a written trading plan, but I would get one. And then if somebody comes to you and says, why did you enter the trade? You will forbid yourself from saying, I felt like. It just will not come out of your mouth. You will say, I had this confirmation, I had this confirmation, I had this confirmation, and we stack probabilities as traders, right? So for me, I have like 5 confirmations, between 5 and 7 before I enter a trade. And everything has to line up, then I'll enter the trade. And then if I'm asked why I exited the trade, it won't be because I felt like it was over. It will be because it hit the -27. That's why I exit the trade, or because one of my other rules triggered. But none of this is because I feel. This is all very, you have to know that the people on the other side of the market have studied casinos, they've studied gambling, they've studied slot machines, and they know how to make this move to make you get an emotional response to take a trade and lose it. That's why people lose the trade, because they're gambling. And the only way to stop doing that is to have a written trading plan, rules that you know work, and then do it. And you put up your hand and you swear, I will not enter a trade unless my trade rules are met. And that's it. That's as far as it goes. Because in the end, I mean, people like it because it feels like gambling and it's exciting when you win. But the deal is if you want it to be profitable, it has to be a business. And in business, there are rules, and you have to have your rules that you follow. So write out your trading plan, put it in front of your computer. And I mean, I've got mine right in front of me, and those are the rules I will not sidestep, period, ever. And in that way, you will become, or at least I became profitable. All right. Good lecture. All right. Anybody else got a question? Comments?
Excellent session, Dalton. Excellent session.
Thank you, Mr. Goodwin.
Well done.
Yeah, it's really good. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll go again on Thursday at 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. and we can look for trades like this again. There's not a whole lot to expand on here. If you guys want to know trade management, we can do that. On Thursday, once you're in a trade, how to know whether or not to stay in it, more of a scalping type deal. If y'all are interested in that. Otherwise, just shoot me questions or concerns or whatever, and we'll do it again. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, this has been fantastic. Honestly, you're right. And I know I've never had a trading plan, and that's the first thing I need to do. I need a trading plan. I need to stick with one. Yeah.
Make it a business.
I got to smarten up. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
okay.
am my worst. I am my own worst enemy. I know that. So
absolutely, everybody that's trading is. I mean, you're only trading against yourself. You know what I mean? I mean, the money's there to be made. The market obeys rules. It has things that it has to do. And so you just learn the rules and then do it. And that's it. That's all there is to it. And you'll be trading on the beach like Jeff in no time. Awesome.
Just a quick little thing. I was just wondering if anyone knows for FTMO, if once you get official and become like a professional trader with like FTMO or something like that, are you still allowed to be part of Traders Way, Owanda, and these other companies, or will they say, oh, because you're a pro trader, you're not allowed anymore?
I believe you can do whatever you want. I mean, as long as you meet their, as long as you don't blow your account with them, I don't think they have a problem with that. Dalton and I were on, just the two of us. I've tried my Forex funds. I'm with Funded Trading Plus now. And like within our group, which we've had one of the actual founders of Funded Trading Plus came on and did an awesome presentation. They don't have a time limit. They only have a one-stage thing, and their drawdown is tighter. And that's why I was talking to Dalton. I like the tighter drawdown because it keeps me more disciplined. So I've tried my Forex funds a couple times. I'm with Funded Trading Plus. I seem to like them right now. So,
okay.
But yeah, as long as you stick with the rules with any of these funded trading accounts, I don't think they care what you do otherwise. I mean, you can have multiple streams of income. So
that's good. I'm in agreement with him. I think when they ask, they just make sure that there's no conflict of interest. But other than that, I don't like no insider trading or anything. You know what I mean? Anything that's going to be illegal. But other than that, I don't think they care.
Okay. Yeah. What is it called? TD Ameritrade. They were asking me, like, when I was signing up with them, you know, they ask you questions like, are you associated with any people who are in like in banks, or I can't remember the question, but they ask.
Sure.
It seems like they're trying to make sure you're probably not insider trading or something like that.
Yeah. Also, if you don't have enough experience, they won't let you trade. So when they're asking experience levels, if you don't have enough experience, they won't open the account to you. So that's the other side of that. If you want to trade futures and commodities and things of that nature, they won't let you in without acceptable experience, because there's a lot of risk there, you know, so they don't want to get in trouble. Cool. All right, y'all be good. I'll see you Thursday. I hope y'all come back, and I'll put this. I got to do the whole thing, but I'll put this in the Facebook group. Hassan, I'll send it to you so that you guys can use it and reference it. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Y'all have a good day.